This is Bill Hennekens. I am the Director of the Center for the Integration of IDEA Data. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch this webinar in advance of our meeting in Park City, Utah. Appreciate you spending the time to do a little preparation so that we can get down to business and the work as quickly as possible when we are together. So the purpose of this brief webinar is to do an introduction to Generate. We know a variety of experience and understanding with the tool and the work that CIID has done and is planning to do going forward. So the team that's putting this work together wanted to provide this as an opportunity to get everyone kind of on the same level in terms of an understanding of Generate and the data reporting tool called Generate that we are developing. So with that, I will jump into the agenda and let you know what we're going to be covering. So first, just a little bit of background around CIID, the Center for the Integration of IDEA Data, and then jump right into Generate, kind of the starting points, go through an infographic, talk about your role and the advantages that SEAs or entities that implement Generate would be able to take advantage of upon implementing the tool. So with that, let's jump into a little bit of background about CIID, the Center for the Integration of IDEA Data. So we are a OSEP Technical Assistance Center, so Office of Special Education Programs, that is designed to support SEAs, so state education agencies, in the integration of their IDEA data, supporting that system integration and data management practices around data integration efforts, and building SEA capacity to report IDEA data, Part B 616, 618, from an integrated data system. We therefore coordinate with SEA staff that specialize in Part B, EdFax reporting, and the SLBS staff that has worked on those grants over a number of years to enhance this reporting to create efficiencies. And in doing this work, we collaborate and coordinate with other OSEP data centers. So folks may have heard of the IDEA Data Center, IDC, the DAISY Center. So those other data centers out there that are tasked with providing technical assistance to states as well. We work with them to not duplicate, to not overlap our work, and to provide the best possible supports to states. So our impacts and outcomes, so skills to create change, work with states so that they can create this change in their own environments. So a lot of that is wrapped around data management practices and procedures, in addition to system architecture, so the structure of the data system. So that's a pretty broad swath of work, everything from the technical structure of a data system to the practices around the data system. CIID is tasked with supporting states and entities on. And it's all so that there is an increased access to quality and integrated data so that enhanced reporting can be done from those integrated data systems. So to do this work, we really need to create connections across people, processes, and systems to do data integration with states and to support states in their efforts to integrate IDEA data with their statewide longitudinal data systems. We can't do it just with people alone or with systems alone or with processes. It takes really connecting across these aspects of the operations in states, so how people work together, the processes they use to collect, report, and analyze data, and the systems that supports the states to do this work. We have to create connections across all of these three core areas to support and to help states build capacity to report in a more efficient and in a higher data quality way. So just some basic kind of background and understanding to the work that CIID does, and that is really necessary to for a state to implement a tool like Generate, and for a state to be in a position to take advantage of a tool like Generate, they kind of need to do those basic kinds of things to be in a position for Generate. So what is Generate, and what were kind of the basic assumptions or starting points that we had in our work to define what Generate is before we actually did any development work? So the first thing is it had to be free. It's got to be at no cost to a state or entity. The primary starter was automating EDFACS reporting. It needed to do that in a more streamlined way for states. And the goal is to take advantage of statewide longitudinal data systems, and that the source of the data for Generate is an integrated statewide longitudinal data system. And it's for, because we're an OSEP center, it is for IDEA Part B 616 and 618 data reporting that's required. So those are the basic, if you will, starting points for Generate, and what we kind of began with when responding to the proposal for this center and the funding opportunity. So when doing the work, recognizing the tool has to be at no cost. We also recognize that we will provide, and hope states understand that we will provide technical assistance to states to implement the tool. This isn't a situation where a state just downloads it off the internet and they're on their own. That is not the case at all. All the way from any aspect of what I talked about, systems, people, or processes that need to be put in place to implement this tool, we will provide technical assistance in those areas to make it happen with the state so they can implement the tool. A state is not on their own to do this work. The underlying structure for Generate is based on the Common Education Data Standards. So the data model, the operational data store, and what it's modeled after is based on CEDS. So essentially is a physical implementation of the CEDS model that's been developed by the community over a number of different years. So CEDS has a functionality called connections. Those are really ways for users to identify uses of data, to identify the elements in a certain use of data and how those elements may be aggregated or filtered. And we are using those connections to identify the elements and the aggregations, how the files really are put together that are necessary for EDFACS reporting and for user-friendly reports that will come out of Generate. So relying on existing tools that are free and available to everyone in the community as well. And that's what CEDS is a free resource and set of tools available to assist us in doing this work. And CEDS is an integral part of the Generate tool, and Generate really rests upon CEDS. Okay, well, here we have from left to right kind of some steps that kind of go towards a basic understanding of Generate and how it would work and be implemented and used in a state, and just something for us to dive into to get a little bit better understanding of how it would work. So you will receive a copy of this handout at our first meeting, and any questions that you have that Wednesday morning when we're together in Park City off the top from this, we are happy to address. And we'll also provide an opportunity for you to hear from the state that we are piloting with and have recently done the first installation of Generate, Nevada. So they will be there to address any of your questions, and any questions that you have from this webinar we can address at that time as well. So with that, let's dive into this infographic and look at step one. So the first step is that a state education agency, most likely a database manager, through a secure access, will download Generate that will be locally hosted. So the actual web application of Generate is going to be hosted in a state's environment, locked down and using the security that exists in a state's environment. There is no connection needed to CIID, to AEM Corporation, or to the Department of Education. It is designed to reside locally in a connected environment inside the state system. So once that is done, data from the statewide longitudinal data system is loaded into Generate and is accessible only by designated SCA staff. So essentially, scripts are written using or extract, transform, and load. Scripts are written to take the data and move it from the longitudinal data system into the operational data store in Generate that is based on CEDS, the Common Education Data Standards. So once that is done, EDFACS coordinators, IDA data managers, other identified data stewards can use Generate to create several reports, so data aggregations, essentially, to examine the data that's been populated into the system. Has it been populated incorrectly? Was the ETL done in the right way? And just a way to verify and to validate the data that has been put into the system, essentially building in checks for that part of the process. So after step 3, Generate really is ready for use by a state. So again, an EDFACS coordinator or an IDA data manager can use the tool to create EDFACS files or to generate or produce, I should say, data for one of the SPP APR indicators. The tool, Generate, will produce the actual file that's needed to be submitted to the EDFACS reporting system, in addition to a user-friendly report. This is one of the things that was important to us. Many of us on the CIID team that are working on Generate have experience as EDFACS coordinators, and we know from our relationships with other coordinators that not a lot of states have access, not a lot of EDFACS coordinators in states have access to reports that they can understand, that make sense to them, that have the aggregations that are submitted in the EDFACS files but are in a user-friendly format that they can look at and understand and compare and make sense of and use to validate and understand the data that is being reported in EDFACS. So that is absolutely what comes out of this step as well, are those kind of user-friendly, understandable reports in addition to the reports that actually need to be submitted to EDFACS. So a bonus. So that is the way of automating your EDFACS reporting and done in an efficient way using the investment of statewide longitudinal data systems and an automated way that is maintained by us. When a EDFACS file specification changes, we will make the changes to Generate, and a new version of it essentially start over from step 1 in terms of downloading an updated version of Generate and kind of going through the process again will work. and something that we understand from our work with states is going to be a big advantage, and based on our experience, we believe it will also. So with that, though, what else can Generate do? This is where you come in, and this is where the work that we are going to do over the next series of meetings, the 3 meetings that we have planned, is going to come into play. So this data is in Generate. You know, a vast array of data is going to be necessary to satisfy this EDFACS reporting. Well, what else can we do with that data and those reports? So your state-designed reports are going to be another output of Generate. That's going to be, you will see when you get a handout from this infographic on Wednesday next week. That will be contained in that step 5. The reports that you are going to work on and define over the over these next couple months. You know, what else can we do with that data that is in Generate that's necessary for EDFACS reporting? What else can you do with it that would be valuable for the work that you have to do in administering the special education program in your state? So let's talk about more benefits of Generate. I've touched on some of these, but let's look at them here. So it automates and simplifies IDA EDFACS reporting. Many states have to run scripts over again. They've got to do lots of different hoops that have to be jumped through to get these reports. Generate is automating that work for them. By using the Common Education Data Standards and using a common system and platform to do this work, it's going to provide more consistent, accurate, and higher quality data across state education agencies for IDA data reporting. And that's definitely a benefit out of Generate. This is going to support timely and efficient reporting for IDA data managers and EDFACS coordinators. You know, having been an EDFACS coordinator, having worked closely with an IDA data manager, you know, always more on my plate and more on the plate of an IDA data manager than could be accomplished. Well, this will, Generate will help them do their work in a timely way and, you know, allow for efficiencies through the automated process. And this takes advantage of SLDS data and all the work that has been put in by the SLDS teams and the extensive grant funding that's been applied to states. It uses that data to report for EDFACS and the relevant APR indicators so that you know, it can really take advantage of that system work that's been done as part of the SLDS effort and kind of really leverage that to the advantage of the EDFACS and IDA folks in the community. So really the advantages that we see and in the work that we've done to get out of the Generate tool. So with that, that takes us really through a brief introduction to Generate. That's how you can get a hold of me, which I think folks probably already know, but the contact information. And with that, want to thank you. Look forward to seeing you next Wednesday morning for the kickoff of our meetings. And thank you very much for the time and the commitment to be prepared for our meetings. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye. What do you think, Travis?